Welcome to Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. Gary Helt is excited to bring you another powerful conversation to help you grow and protect your business and finances. Today's episode is hosted by a special guest, personally selected by Gary, so you can keep learning and moving forward even when Gary is off the mic. Settle in and enjoy today's insights.
Welcome to another episode of Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. I'm your guest host today, Barry Goldwater, and I'm stepping in for Gary Helt, who is our resident tax expert and also resident CPA. This show is all about helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals gain the insights you need to grow smarter and stronger. And today I'm excited to be joined by Kevin George, the Vice President of Finance at Naveo Credit Union, located in Somerville, Massachusetts. Kevin's also a CPA with years of experience guiding both individuals and businesses into, of course, making sound financial decisions. He brings a unique perspective from inside the credit world where the focus is on community relationships and helping businesses grow. Kevin, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Barry, real quick, I'm not a president and CEO of New England Teamsters Credit Union.
I stand corrected. So you're now the CPA. When I met you, you were a vice president, but you have since taken over Naveo, is that correct?
No, so I was the chief financial officer at Naveo Credit Union for 12 years. But 2 years ago, I became the president and CEO of New England Teamsters Federal Credit Union in Charlestown, Massachusetts, which I love. The best decision I ever made in my life.
Is that connected to Naveo? Are they both connected?
No connection at all. I had someone reach out to me, ask if I would be interested in coming over, so I went over. And, this worked out really, really well. So you're familiar with the Teamsters Union, right?
Of course.
So we are the credit union for Teamsters for all throughout New England, and absolutely love it here. We do really good work for Teamsters throughout New England.
That's tremendous. That's really a tremendous position. But so let me ask you, how does Naveo reach the community of Somerville like the Charleston Teamsters Credit Union reaches the Teamsters?
Well, it's different because with the Teamsters Federal Credit Union, we specifically work with Teamsters, so it's a niche. Whereas Naveo is a community-based organization.
I got it.
Started out as a Portuguese credit union, but then it branched out into the community. Whereas Teamsters Federal Credit Union and Teamsters Federal Credit Union, we do just for Teamsters all over New England as well as family members. So it's a little bit different. We're segment credit union here, whereas Naveo is open to the general public.
You know, the one that I'm familiar with is Navy Credit Union, USAA Insurance. Those are organizations that specifically deal with members of the armed services, of the Navy, things like that. Similar in the Teamsters Federal, yes?
Exactly. And we just do, at Teamsters Federal, we just make sure that we give financial products similar to Bank of America. Anything Bank of America offers, we offer here. But we do it at a better pricing model, and we do it with better service, simply because we're all Teamsters who are working here, and we're going to pick up the phone and talk to you. As a president and CEO, I talk to members every single day. You're not going to get that at a bigger bank.
No question.
So what we do here at Teamsters, because of the new technology and everything else, we can offer the same products and the same service as a bigger bank, but they can never match what we do one-on-one service. I mean, any member who wants can come in and we'll sit down with me as the president. I'll sit down with any other 5 people. We have a tremendous team here. Everyone's totally dedicated. We're all Teamsters ourselves. So I'm able to use my background as a CPA, a chief financial officer in the credit union industry for well over 20 years. And that allows me to really bring those gifts and aptitudes to help Teamsters out, and it's a wonderful feeling. I love going to work every day because I believe in the team stuff. I believe what Teamsters stand for. They believe in helping people get a living wage, and they'll fight for it too. They're fighters, Teamsters are fighters. I grew up in Dorchester, so it's nice being this type of organization. They fight for the membership, which are Teamsters, and in the even better part about that, not only they help them get a livable wage, they set them up to have a dignified retirement. So best move I ever made in my life was coming to New England Teamsters Federal Credit Union. As far as business goes. So as far as a business or job thing, best move I made in my life was coming to the Teamsters Federal Credit Union. Absolutely love to come to work every single day.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
You're animated since taking that position. But let's back up a little bit. What was the beginning? When did you decide to become a CPA?
I believe it or not, I was in college, and I was trying to think of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. But as time went on, you realize you weren't going to be a professional baseball player. Oh, I played in a semi-pro baseball league for well
What
over
position?
20 years. I started out as third base, and I moved over to first base. But it was called the Yawkey Baseball League of Greater Boston. We had 22 teams, and some of our guys went on to play in the Major League Baseball. A lot of guys went on to play pro ball. So I never got to move up into that level of pro ball, but I competed against the best of the best, and I just love baseball. So once that was out the window, I wanted to become an FBI agent. So I talked to some FBI agents, and they said, well, if you become a CPA, this is way back when, early 90s, if you become a CPA, the FBI will really want you. So I became a CPA with that in mind. I can't say I ever really loved accounting all that much, but I grew to really like it. But at the get-go, I didn't necessarily love accounting, but I figured, hey, it'll allow me to support myself. But through the whole FBI process, I had ended up having a particular surgery, and because I had a surgery, they said, it's a no-go. So then I went into the business world, and thinking I'd never really like it. But as time went on, I really liked being a CPA, and then I got into the credit union world, and I love the credit union world. But on top of being in a credit union, I get to work with the Teamsters, which my favorite job of all time. So It's great.
You sound like a local Boston guy. You have the accent, and you could get picked out of a crowd in Fenway Park. But for people listening, I wanted to just make clear that Dorchester is one of the neighborhoods in the surrounding Boston, greater Boston vicinity. Like Somerville is a separate city, but Dorchester is part of Boston.
Yeah. So Dorchester is has the biggest population in Boston itself. So Boston proper, Boston itself, Dorchester has the biggest population, and it's a great neighborhood. I lived there. I got born there, and stayed there. And then it's been a place. The Irish came over. All different generations, Italians, Polish, a lot of Polish, Lithuanians, and then with big influx of Vietnamese, and then a lot of African Americans. So it's a real melting pot of the United States. If you had I would argue that Dorchester is probably one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the entire country, because you have Irish, Polish, Vietnamese, African Americans, Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. So we have people from all over the world who settle there. And at one time, people said, "Oh, Dorchester, why do you want to live there?" But now I've always loved it. That's why I never left. But we have people coming from all over settling in Dorchester now. Well, so it's a great place. I love it. And I grew up in a triple decker in Dorchester. I got 5 brothers and sisters, my mother and father, and we had a great family life growing up. It was awesome.
It's amazing. When I moved to Boston, one of the neighborhoods that I lived in was Dorchester, around Ronan Park.
Oh, yeah, I know Roland Park. Yeah, yeah.
So I
My,
lived in,
my baseball team, I was at home park.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
they have a baseball connection in Ronan Park.
yeah.
That's interesting, Kevin, real interesting. How long after so you were deferred from the FBI
Yeah,
because of the physical impairment
yeah,
that negated your
right.
being able to join the FBI. How soon after you became a CPA did you join the credit union?
Um, one of my clients, so I was working on a CPA firm, and then one of my clients who I managed the audit for three and a half years. I actually managed the audit there for 3 years. And they asked me, their CFO was leaving, so they asked me if I'd come over to be the chief financial officer. And that's how I was doing the audit there, but then I was actually asked to become the chief financial officer of the credit union. And
Uh-huh.
and then so I went there and I sort of fell in love with the industry. And it was an industry I didn't want to leave because the motto in the credit union world is people helping people.
Right.
And so to me, that's a nice place to be. I really enjoyed the people I work with. I enjoyed the work I was doing. So once I got in there, I didn't want to ever leave the industry.
And when you layer the Teamsters, when you layer a union layer on top of people helping people, that sort of expands, your mission statement.
I call it the double blessing. I get to work in the credit union world, and I get to work with the Teamsters, which is, in my opinion, it is literally one of the best organizations in the country. Is basically creating a middle class. Middle class people, they don't hoard their money; they spend it, which is great
Right.
for the economy.
Right.
And when people retire, they're not eating dog food, right? They get a dignified retirement. So
Right.
in a team, if it wasn't for the Teamsters, the people would not be getting that situation. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm a capitalist. Don't get me wrong. I'm a total capitalist, but
Sure.
I also believe that people tend to be greedy, and if you don't push them, they're not going to give you what you deserve. And I believe people should get a livable wage. If people work 40 hours a week, they should get a livable wage, and they should be, if they work their whole life, they should have a dignified retirement.
Agreed.
And
How,
that's why I absolutely love working with the Teamsters.
yeah. How, well, that's interesting because how do you replicate let's say the Teamsters retirement plan for community people in Dorchester, Charleston, Somerville. How is that replicated? In other words, is that part of the service that a credit union supplies to the community? Is like if you're a small business, you give retirement advice, you give benefit advice. Like who are the people you're on the phone with every day?
Well, a lot of times I come in person. Like I tell these, the people I talk to are Teamsters, right? So because they're in the Teamsters, they're going to get a living wage,
Right,
and they're going to get a dignified retirement because there's a Teamsters retirement plan, right? So people will call me up, ask me about different things. I mean, one of the things I like to do, I hate to see people get ripped off. I can't stand it. So sometimes, people would be trying to buy a car and we'll run the VIN value on it. And, a person got a used car, say, person's getting ripped off, and then, oh, it's my friend trying to sell me the car. Well, after 4 cars, they overcharge you 5,000-6,000 per car. I don't know if
right,
that was really your friend. So
right,
there's different things like that. But as far as helping them people out their retirement, they get the Teamsters pension, but we also have IRAs and different things in here. But the core of their retirement is going to be from the Teamsters union itself. But we help people navigate, what type of investment, I mean, what type of IRAs, and a lot of times is what to stay away from.
right.
There's salespeople out there all the time, not within our organization, but they're out there all the time trying to rip people off. So sometimes it's just a case of, hey, no, this person's trying to rip you off, you know?
Would you say that the advantage of being part of a credit union for the local community is direct access to some of the people in the credit union that make the lending decisions, the cash flow decisions, and helping businesses sort out some of the problems that businesses have?
Yeah, I think with credit unions is a little bit different. We have to make a little bit of money, right? right? We have to, because we're not gonna be able to stay in business if we don't make a little bit of money.
Sure.
But ultimately, the money we make, we give it back to the membership in terms of better rates and different things like that. Whereas the Bank of America, right, they have to take care of shareholders. They're a publicly sold company. So
Right.
their profits are going back to the shareholders. And, so it's two different types of companies, right? Our ultimate goal, right? My ultimate goal, being a credit union world, and especially with the Teamsters, is to help our membership, right? I'm able to give fully objective advice, which is the best advice for our membership, because I don't have to worry about my board telling me, oh, you have to sell so much of this stuff because we want our stock price up here. I don't have to worry about this stuff. So I can come into every single morning and know when I talk to the people, if that was my mother or father, that's the advice I'd be giving them, right? So whereas in a bank, you saw a Wells Fargo before and stuff like that, that people are incentivized and that they're told you need to open so many accounts or, you might not have a job. So that's the beauty about the credit union, that we can give totally objective advice and really, help our members out. And I'm not saying, all banks like that. Certainly, mutual savings banks have the same sort of platform that they're trying to help out their membership and stuff like that.
Right.
But what I'm saying in the credit union world, some of the, a lot of good mutual savings banks out there too. But in the credit union world, we really, really try to take care of membership. We try to make it like almost like a family atmosphere. And we're gonna, we'll hold your hand if you have to. And our motive is to take care of our membership. It's not necessarily to make money, although we have to make money.
Right. What would you say your competitive advantages over the big banks? The big banks, because they have more money, can probably shore up and offer higher rates on, let's say, an IRA, like a fixed account in an IRA. But what's the outreach to sort of make known to the people of Charleston and the people of Somerville the benefits of the credit union, and how do you really compete with the big banks, or do you?
No, we absolutely. The average credit card rate right now in the United States is 20%. Our credit card rate is 10.99.
Wow.
So, if someone has a $20,000 balance on the account, we're saving them a ton of money each month. So we actually compete better, right? And
Yep.
not in every situation, but we compete very well, and often we compete much better. First mortgage product would pretty much going to be the same rate. But, so basically about our credit cards, your different things, one of the things we're going to do, heat loans and stuff like that. We, like I say, number one motive is to help out our member. And
Right.
the thing is, the beauty about technology these days is we have a credit union league, so all the credit unions in New England and Delaware, and we all work together. And there's companies that work with us very closely, and they're giving us technology right now, on an almost, monthly basis that's going to allow us to compete with the big banks. So right now, we can compete with the big banks in almost everything, right? Because there's good technologies out there right now.
Yep.
And we're able to compete better because we have 6 people here. We know our membership. So if you walk in the door, we're going to know your name, right?
Yep.
If you walk into Bank of America, they're not going to know your name.
No.
If you call the credit union, we have 6 people picking up the phone. I might be picking up the phone as the president and CEO, who's a CPA, who's also passed all his investment exams. So I'm a wealth of knowledge, and I enjoy getting on the phone and helping out my fellow Teamsters. And these are, in the Teamsters world, we call ourselves brothers and sisters, right? So
Right.
someone calls me up and asks me a question, my background and stuff, financial, I can certainly help them. It's like helping out a brother or sister, same like someone's driving a truck, right? I'm not gonna be able to fix an engine in a truck, but the guy fixing the engine in a truck will be able to fix it for me. And, he's a Teamster brother or sister. She's a Teamster
Right.
brother or sister.
right.
So it's a really beautiful feeling, and that's like in the credit union world. I mean, you're up at a big moment. So you take the credit union plus the Teamster together, then that's supercharged on steroids. It's the way I look at it. Teamsters, New England Teamsters Federal Credit Union is credit unions on steroids.
It made me think of how somebody comes and wants to know a good mechanic, and a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who's going to get the job done.
Right, right,
How
right.
does the credit union in community outreach, like I know you mentioned that you loved baseball, and I think I read somewhere where you sponsor a girls league, a girls softball team. Is that true?
Yeah, so number one with the Teamsters, one of the biggest things we do all year is a toy drive, right? So we have a toy drive right out of the Union Hall here, and we set up boxes other places, and the Teamsters give toys to kids all over New England, you know. So that's one region. That's one. We had this guy Joe Conti, who God rest his soul, passed away. Uh,
Oh,
a little while ago, but he's an older guy, so he lived a
sure.
good life. But he ran this whole toy drive, um, and you get these kids all over the place have these wonderful Christmases because we collect toys and we
Yeah.
donate it. Not only that, the Teamsters pull out their wallets and give a ton of money, and so every kid at Christmas time can have a really good time. Yeah,
Yeah.
have a really nice Christmas. So we do that. As far as my softball coaching, so I played baseball in the semi-pro league, the Yorkie Baseball League of Greater Boston. I played there from age 16 into my early 40s, believe it or not. I became a player in the last 7 years. I became a player coach, South Boston Saints. So, we're really good. And I played for the Ivy Nelson Club for many years too. Um, and I played for all Dorchester Sports League out of Dorchester too. But so once my daughter was born, I said, I had all my fun in the sun. So I gave up playing and coaching the semi-pro team, and I just started coaching girls soccer. I started coaching girls basketball and in girls softball, and I eventually became president of the All Dorchester Sports League softball program. And I've been doing that ever since, and it's really good. We expanded just from a spring season, and we play a summer season with the RBI, which is affiliated with the Boston Red Sox, and then we play in the fall softball league. We call the Charles River League. We play all different towns all over the place. So the playing 3 seasons for the girls allows them to get really good. If you just play spring in New England, you might only play 12, 13 games. You're not going to get that much better because it's raining all the time. But then
Right.
we play spring, summer, and fall. And yeah, I can go to credit unions and get donations, and because you need to buy the shirts. I always like to have the softball be free for the girls. So for the summer the Red Sox, sponsor it. But in the fall, we got to pay different fees and stuff like that. So I always get enough. I always get enough money from sponsors to make it free. Even this year, the Boston Fire Department union is going to give us money, not the credit union, but the union. So I get it from the credit union. So it works out really, really well.
What's your relationship with the other unions in the city? Like you mentioned, the firefighters, probably the police union. Do you use your Teamsters union affiliation to reach out to the other unions in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, not per se as a credit union, but certainly the Teamsters Union, the South, have very good, good relationships with all the unions. So they come together and they sponsor us. We were recently. I was on the strike line myself, so I was down with the Republic, which does all the guys and ladies who do all the trash removal and things like that, which is a very, very tough job, hard job. They went on strike because they weren't getting compensated for the work they were doing.
Sure.
So all the other unions came out and backed us. So they go down the picket line. I was down the picket line in Roxbury quite a bit, and I was walking the picket line with them again. Even though I work at the credit union, and my team's brothers and sisters, so I was down
Yep.
there offering financial advice if they had questions, and I'd also walk the picket line with them. And it wasn't a bad time to get out of the office for the day. And then we finally got that strike settled. The union got that strike settled, not me.
Yep.
The union got
Yep.
that, not the credit union.
Right.
But all the other unions, the Boston Police, all the other unions really backed the Teamsters in that battle.
And I imagine when there are issues that bring union people out on the streets, that the other unions are going to coalesce around the issue.
Exactly, Barry.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Plus, if you get in a fight, you can call some of your Teamsters. They'll help you out.
I'm gonna listen. Sports is in my blood too. I'm gonna have to talk to you after the interview. I just have to tell you about one of the embarrassing sports stories that I'm connected to. I was invited to Fenway Park, as a member of a certain team, and we were given the opportunity to sit on top of the Green Monster
Oh,
in
nice.
Fenway Park. But before that, we were allowed to shag batting practice. So we were
Wow.
in the outfield. They gave us gloves. It was John Hancock, I believe, that gave us the gloves. And we were in the outfield, and there was a ball coming right at me.
Right.
And I saw it coming so clearly. And when I got under the ball, I realized it was 10 feet over my head, which is when I realized that I think my sports days were pretty much behind me. I never missed the ball that was coming right for my face, but that day I did.
Great.
Let me ask you this pretty much last question. Do you
Right.
still practice as a CPA outside of the credit union? Are you still credentialed?
Yeah, I'm still credentialed, but no, I don't practice. I want to put all my effort in the Teamsters. So I want to put 100% into the Teamsters. So I don't practice. Earlier in my career, I used to work full time and I had to practice on the side. But as time went on, there's so much time in the day. And like when my daughter was born, I said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore because I'm going to work all
Sure.
week. And I want to be very active. And to be honest, I love coaching youth sports.
Yep.
So I didn't want to be like talking to tax clients when I'm supposed to be down in the game, coaching. So I gave it up.
It's
So
hard to
I put
pivot.
all my time and effort into the right now. I put all my time and effort into my Teamsters job.
Yeah. Well, this is great, Kevin. This is really great. I had one more question for you, and that is when you reach out to other professionals,
Sure.
let's say to have them support the credit union, what kind of professionals do you want who could be assets to your members?
Um, we want people who are going to put the Teamsters first. So
So it's really union first and trickle down from there.
yeah, so we have this relationships with there'll be a lot of relationships with different
Law firms.
law firms and different things like that work just for the Teamsters. The Teamsters is a huge organization throughout the whole country and Canada too. So there's organizations that just specialize in working with the Teamsters. So that's who we'll generally work with them, and that's their specialty. And that's pretty much all they do is take care of the Teamsters. They've been doing it for years, so that's generally how it plays out.
Sure.
And they've done a great job, so there's no reason to make any changes with those guys.
Oh, you know a guy who knows the guy.
Yeah.
Well, those are really all the questions I had for you, Kevin. I want to really thank you for being a guest on the show. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe. Of course, share this episode with your network and leave us a review. I'm Barry Goldwater. It's been a pleasure filling in for Gary Helt, and we'll see you next time with more strategies to help you build, grow, and protect your wealth. And thank you so much, Kevin, for being my guest.
Barry, thanks so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.